Listening to the Republicans, you think Joe was more communist than the Castros. Don't fall for that garbage. Don't fall for that okey doke. Joe Biden is not a socialist. He was a senator from Delaware. He was my vice president. I think folks would know if he was a secret socialist by now. What is true is he'll stand up for ordinary people. What is true is he'll stand up for workers. What is true is he'll stand up for a higher minimum wage. What is true is he'll stand up for affordable housing. What is true is he'll go promote human rights in Cuba and around the world, and he won't coddle dictators the way our current president does. And let me tell you something else about Joe Biden. Joe Biden's tough. You know, something that you can't really say about this president. He likes to act tough and talk tough. He thinks scowling and being mean is tough and being rude is tough, but when 60 Minutes and Leslie Stahl are too tough for you, you ain't all that tough. If you got to walk out of a 60 Minutes interview, then you're never going to stand up to a dictator. If you're spending all your time complaining about how mean reporters are to you, you're not going to stand up to Putin. Joe Biden will restore our battered standing in the world.
This is Obama taking it to Trump after he decided to, yet again, throw a temper tantrum and storm out of a 60 Minutes interview because he wasn't able to deal with having to answer tough questions.
You know, I didn't want to have this kind of angry.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Well, then you brought up a lot of subjects that were inappropriately brought up.
Questions.
They were inappropriately brought up right from the beginning. No, your first question was, this is going to be tough questions. Well, when you set up the interview, your first statement was...
You're president. Don't you think you should be accountable to the American people?
Your first statement to me, this is going to be tough questions. Well, I don't mind that. But when you set up the interview, you didn't say that. You said, oh, let's have a lovely interview. And here's what I do say.
So why?
You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your interview with Joe, the interview with Joe Biden.
I never did a Joe Biden.
It was a joke. The interview, 60 Minutes. I see Joe Biden giving softball after softball. I've seen all of his interviews. He's never been asked a question that's hard.
Okay, but forget him for a minute.
No, but you start with me.
You're president.
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions? That's no way to talk. No way to talk.
Leslie, one second. This is the first warning. I think we have 5 minutes until we have the vice president step in. Is that about right?
Well, I think we have enough. Really, we have enough of it.
So I think we're ready for the vice president now.
I think we have enough of an interview here. Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay? Thanks. I'll see you later. Thanks.
The funniest part is that Trump brought this upon himself by releasing the 60 Minutes interview early. Trump was so infuriated by the fact that Leslie Stahl dared ask tough questions and not kowtow to him like the sycophants who usually run his Fox News interviews, that he thought he would show them by releasing the interview on his own early to deprive 60 Minutes of the ratings. But by virtue of doing that, he just gave Democrats more fodder to use against him. He handed Barack Obama some prime material that he could use at a major rally in the swing state of Florida. Tell you what, he really showed Leslie Stahl. Not to mention, what did he think he'd get out of himself releasing an interview, showing himself throwing a fit? Did he think it wouldn't look like a fit if he released the footage himself? Did he think it coming from his Twitter account meant that we wouldn't notice the temper tantrum? And not only that, but by making such a fuss about it, he only drew more attention to it. I must admit that for all of Trump's downfalls, something he is excellent at is drawing attention to things that he really doesn't want to draw attention to. Since the guy loves sticking his name on things, I'd say one strong contender would be renaming the Streisand effect for Trump, because no one is better at humiliating Donald Trump than Donald Trump. The simple fact is that Trump isn't tough at all. He's the opposite. Strength isn't digging in your heels when you were wrong about masks and stay-at-home orders. It's admitting your mistake and moving on. Strength isn't punching down on minorities and LGBT Americans while pandering to hate groups. Strength isn't alienating our allies while being too scared to stand up to dictators. If Trump was strong, he wouldn't need to do these things. But because he's insecure, because he's thin-skinned, because he knows that his presidency is a failure, he tries to overcompensate. And all that does is put his weakness on full display. And by the way, those same dictators that Trump kowtows to, they all know that he's a fool. They know they can walk all over him. So while Trump brags about his love letters with Kim Jong-un, that never even stopped the North Korean dictator from expanding that country's nuclear capabilities. While Trump brags about his great friendship with Vladimir Putin, that Russian dictator continued committing cyber attacks against our country and placed bounties on our soldiers' heads. Mohammed bin Salman from Saudi Arabia dismembered Jamal Khashoggi, a permanent resident of the United States. Why? Because all of them knew that Trump would never retaliate, and he proved them right. By the way, to touch on one more point that Obama made, the right is hell-bent on trying to frame Joe Biden as a socialist, which puts on full display the extent to which they don't know how to run against this person. Even Biden himself accused Trump at the final debate of not even knowing who he's running against.
Let's let Vice President Biden respond.
It doesn't
Vice
work.
President
He's
Biden
a very
responds.
confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. He's running against Joe Biden. I beat all those other people because I disagreed with them. Joe Biden he's running against.
They're trying to claim that Biden is this communist, socialist, Antifa super soldier who wants government to take over everything while you give 98 cents on the dollar to Washington. But what they fail to realize is that Biden is not only one of the most moderate candidates of the Democrats that ran for the nomination, but his position was expressly against the positions that Republicans are trying to claim he holds now, like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. What Republicans don't seem to grasp is that the American people already know Joe Biden, and no one is under any delusions that he's a socialist. Of course, the fact that they're still trying to pin the title on him anyway is a testament to the fact that the GOP isn't operating in good faith. They're not even trying to hide their desperation to peddle lies, even when the entire country, themselves included, knows that they're lying. But this is all they have. All they can ever do is pretend that Democrats are socialists that are gonna steal your entire paycheck and allow the government to run your life. It is the same tired song we hear every single election cycle. And at some point, even their own base is going to stop buying this fear-mongering. If Republicans really wanted to make good use of their time, they would probably stop trying to redefine Joe Biden and instead spend a little more time trying to redefine Donald Trump, because it's the latter who's dragging down their ticket as the least popular president in modern American history. If you like this video, please check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deep dive into the week's most important stories and interview major players in politics, including Kamala Harris, Katie Porter, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swalwell, Mary Trump, Al Franken, Cory Booker, and many, many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.